Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome indeed. Today we're going to be showing off how to beat Eldlich, how to main deck against him, because in Master Duel there's no side deck. So there's a few different ways to actually have in terms of play styles. You can actually go first up against them if your deck can make Natria Beast or Barkian. Those are fantastic cards. You can also combo Crystron Phoenix if your deck can do it. Because there is so many annoying cards that they have, you need to get rid of all of them. And if you can go first and make a Crystron Phoenix, it's pretty much GG. But let's talk about some other ways to actually beat this deck. Alright, so hopping right in, I got a bunch of different cards, but like I said, if you are going first up against the deck, you need to be able to set up a bunch of negates. That does not just include monster effects, which is kind of generally how Yu-Gi-Oh is played now. You have to have also spell negation, and if you can't have trap negation as well, that is kind of ideal. Now, the whole goal of Eldlich, to sum it up, is basically a grind game deck. What they're going to do is they're going to summon Eldlich, the Golden Lord, more than likely. If you're watching this video, you probably searched it up because you're like, I'm tired of this deck, right? But the problem is there's so many cards to actually hit, and I'll talk a little bit about that. I've seen some people talk about Twin Twisters or Galaxy Cyclone, any of those other like spell and trap removal. The problem is versus like you know, in like regular Yu-Gi-Oh, we normally have a side deck. We don't have that option in Master Duel, so we have to like main deck some of the cards that would be maybe used against not only Eldlich but other decks as well. And let me go ahead and give you guys the rundown of the deck real quick. So all they try to do is play what's called a grind game, and they're going to add an extra card every single time they use one card. It's going to get them another card by banishing. Now, you can have some options if you can, depending on your deck. You can run things like Dimension Shifter and Macrocosmos to basically say, well, there is no such thing as the graveyard, so all these cards get banished the first time they're used. Unfortunately, the same time that you're doing that, they can throw up skill drain. They can play that stall game for a while, and that's kind of the big problem. Also, there is the effect of Eldlich Golden Lord sometimes to pop other things that you may have to counter them. So they do, again, want to play a longer game, but to basically stop them from being able to play a longer game, that's kind of your goal in most scenarios. Most decks in Yu-Gi-Oh that are like competitive or able to like do things like Drytron that stop every single play, you're going to be able to OTK them, which means you beat them in one turn. And a lot of times what you can do is run some certain cards that can be used in multiple different matchups. Like, for example, Lightning Storm, this is great up against Eldlich, but it's also great against pretty much everything. Whereas if you were to run, let's say, Macrocosmos, you might not actually be able to get use out of it unless your deck can make great use out of it. Things like Grand Madre Daisa or any deck that like wants to have things banished, this could be an option for you. So I'm trying to give you guys a mindset as well as show off some cards that may be not able to be put in your deck, but other decks can play it. So starting right off, I want to talk about DD Crow. The whole deck with Eldlich, the only monsters that they get is pretty much Golden Lord. I know that you can summon the trap monsters, but pretty much if they don't have this card, the deck flops instantly. Some people have been talking about Prohibition just to be able to declare the card's name. You could even use this card going first, calling out hand traps like, you know, Max C, you know, Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is a very common card because even though I know it's an ultra rare, everyone has it because they crafted it for free when they did the 750 gem thing, right? But you can call cards that normally would be a problem to deal with in other decks, as well as, you know, just calling like Golden Lord over here, and then they cannot use them. Cards that are already face down over here, cards that are already on the field are not affected, including face down cards. So you'll have to call this a little bit earlier on if you want to do this. It's only really good going first, and if you're going first against that deck and you open up like Decree, it's really good as well. The thing is, like, people have talked about Twin Twisters or like Galaxy Cyclone. The problem is that there's so many cards. There's Skill Drain, there's Vanities, there can only be one. There's so many things that you have to hit in the deck. I would just recommend running cards like Lightning Storm, again, where you can use this against multiple decks. Heck, Feather Duster is still a pretty decent card. If you get matched up against Strikers, it could be definitely usable, or if you get matched up against even Salaman Great, you know, any deck that would have like a setup of like a few back row. Harpy's Feather Duster is still a really good card. Another great card also is Red Reboot. It kind of does the same thing as all of them. This one, though, you have to be playing a deck that does not care about the grind game, as in like you just want to game them instantly, because if you give Eldlich an extra turn and then they get to set another trap card, How this card works is if your opponent activates a trap card, you get to stop that, and then you set it face down, and then they get to set another one. But remember, they can't activate any trap cards for the rest of the turn, which is really good. You have to pay half your life points if you want to activate it from your hand, but if it's game over, then it doesn't matter, right? So think about that as well, if you are playing a deck that can like just game them in one turn. But some decks like Lyraloose or any Tri-Brigade Lyraloose variants, you can consider running Crow. I mean, you could just banish this card, and then like if they don't have specifically the Golden Lord, they lose out on a lot of abilities to like get bonuses. Like if they control Golden Lord, they get to banish a card from either grave, or with Conquistador, which I think is one of the most problematic cards to deal with, at least for lots of combo decks, because they just get rid of that one card that you needed, where they're able to pop one if you control Eldlich Golden Lord. If you just say, well, sorry, your Golden Lord is gone, then they could just simply not have as much free advantage with the deck, although they'll probably get it out next turn because that's how the deck works. But this is conditional for certain decks to actually play. Not every deck can play this. Every deck can play Ash Blossom. You guys are probably already playing it, but it's a good card against them. Other great options, again, you'll see most of it has to do with like the back row, because that's what Eldlich is. Denko Sekka is fantastic. You can use it in a lot of different things. Even, heck, you can run this in Cyber Dragons if you wanted to. There's a bunch of decks that don't require the normal summon. Like, you can just go for a normal summon this, fusion something for like several thousand attack that attacks multiple times. You'll be good to go as well, because Denko Sekka makes it almost like, he's almost kind of like a Jinzo that you just normal summon if you guys are OG Yu-Gi-Oh players. But basically, you just normal summon it while you control no set spell traps. Neither player can set spell traps or activate them, so they can't even reset the cards, which is excellent. They'll get over this more than likely the next turn, so unless you have other ways to protect it, it happens to be a light card, so you can maybe honest, or I mean, they can technically get rid of it by other means. You know, this card's effect is pretty good. That lets you send one, which is just so good. But yeah, Denko Sekka just makes so in terms of all the back row, you can play like Shadal's. That's where it like really got to see play in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. You'd summon Denko, activate, you know, Shadal Fusion, and then pretty much it was GG's for a lot of different decks. Fantastic card. If you're playing a deck that doesn't really care about like the graveyard, or if you can get advantage of, that's the only like I would say competitive deck that a lot of you guys probably know about is Grenmod Daiza. Dimension Sifter is excellent in that as well. If you're playing a deck, like, for example, I'm playing Dinos. This is a good card that I can search out. Any of the Kaijus could be good, because if they don't control Eldlich, or if you just want to get rid of Eldlich, then banish it by whatever means, that could be good as well. So consider Kaijus, because a lot of, again, the cards will require you to have that. Now, we've already talked about these two. We talked about Prohibition as well. You just declare, you know, the golden boy, and then you just hope that they don't have a really out to that. But then also, there's a lot of ways that they can just, there's only one Eldritch monster, so there's not going to be anything else. But like, a lot of stuff reoccurs. So again, that's why you want to finish them as fast as possible. Also, Called by the Grave, getting rid of the golden boy is like the go-to. Now, a lot of people talk about evenly matched. You can make your opponent banish all of their cards from their field face down, so they control the same amount, which will be just one. Sometimes they'll just keep Golden Lord in defense, and then like you're like, okay, I got rid of everything else. You still have to actually be able to beat them, you know, relatively quick, because the longer the game goes on, they get one, another one, and a lot of times they could even keep a card like Skill Drain out, and then you can't finish them off, and they're just gonna slowly start building it up again. But Evenly Matched could still be a really decent card up against them, or even against strikers. This is a fantastic card. There's very few areas where this card like doesn't get to be used at all, but when you're playing a combo heavy deck, yeah, you're gonna have to wait another turn, which you usually don't want to. I'd rather just go through my combo, and once they do something, red reboot, hope they don't have Solemn, and you'll be good to go. Because they also play Solemn, and that's again the problem with like Twin Twisters or like any of these other cards that would disrupt a Galaxy. Let's type it in. Galaxy Cyclone. Oh gosh, there's Galaxy, and then there's the other one where it's like a quick play, but it banishes and you pay like 1,000. Again, I don't really like those as options. I would rather play these. You have to clear all of them and OTK them. Otherwise, like, if you just don't hit Skill Drain, what are you gonna do? Blindly Twin Twisters and just hope you hit the right one? If you hit Skill Drain and they flip up, there can only be one. I get it. It's annoying. That's just the way the deck works. Yeah, this card over here. But yeah, specifically, Conquistador is usually the card that like disrupts the combo plays. I was also thinking about, like, you can tactically, because I was looking for Super Poly targets earlier because I was gonna run it. This card can be used against them if they happen to control 2 zombies, and then they won't have any to control if, like, you activate this, and it has 3,000 attack, which is kind of nice. You can also Abyss Dweller, because they definitely want those graveyard effects of, you know, getting that, you know, awesome ability. If you can make it turn 1, it's not that bad, but, like, honestly, the best option is really Barkion. Or again, Crystron Phoenix if you happen to be going first, but you can't just go Barkion because they're just gonna go like they're just gonna summon this, run it over, or because I believe it has 25. Because I know that there's still people playing like 6 Sams, yes, 25. There's still people playing 6 Sams. 6 Sams can make Natria Beast, Barkion pretty consistent turn 1. I mean, if you can make this against the Eldlich, it's game over. You can do it with Cyberstein, or you can combo into it by other means. But ideally, again, your goal against Eldlich is to just one-shot them in one turn. Just go all in. It doesn't matter if you're like, oh, maybe what if he has this? Just go for it, because if you don't, you're going to regret it. Because the longer that the game goes on, the Eldlich player will get more and more advantage because they get so many free like cards for every single card they use. They're going to get another one. So my best suggestion would be for most players, you'll get this card for free. This card you'll get for free too. Again, by the 750 gem crafting, you guarantee yourself at least these. You're probably already going to be playing that. But this is a fantastic card, but consider Harpy's Feather Duster as well. Consider also that Lightning Storm is once per turn, so running 3 of these might not be the best idea, because like you can run, let's say, a Lightning Storm, a Duster, and a Red Reboot just to get rid of all of the back row. Again, this is for combo decks only, but if you're in there for like the long grind game, you can consider just getting rid of all the Golden Lords. They only have really 3 monsters in the deck, and most of them won't even have a way to bring them back. But anyways, hopefully this video helped you guys out getting rid of the Eldlich, because this is one of the decks that I think a lot of people, even in the new TCG right now with a new ban list coming out very soon, and it's going to be an annoying deck though. Everyone's like, Eldlich is just confirmed like the best deck with 3 skill drain and vanities and Mystic Mine in the TCG. Well, vanities in here. There's also Imperial Order in here. Like, there's just so many crazy things in Master Duel. But yeah, we don't have to deal with Mystic Mind, at least in this game. That's why I actually like it. But hopefully this video helped you guys out in your main deck, side deck choices, because you just have to main deck because there is no game 2 and 3, and there's no side deck in this. But yeah, consider these cards to be your good friends. But anyways, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn that bell. If you guys want to see another video going over what to do to counter another deck, let me know what decks you guys want to learn how to counter, and I'll drop a vid on it later down the line. But take care, catch you guys next one, peace.